Let me welcome you to POV on the Al Media Sports channel on YouTube. My name is Jose. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Today we'll be talking about the UEFA Champions League game that happened in Paris, the home of Paris Saint-Germain, Parc des Princes, where they played against Manchester City. And today we'll be zooming into the chances of Manchester City qualifying to the playoff round in the UEFA Champions League, and then also assess Pep Guardiola's chances after his divorce. How are things faring for him now as a Spanish tactician? But like I said, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and then also turn on the notification button as we keep you updated with all the latest happenings in the world of sports. So let's start off with the game that happened. It was the match of week 7 fixture in the UEFA Champions League group stages between PSG and then also Manchester City. So two Spanish tacticians. PSG had their coach, a Spaniard in Luis Enrique, and then Pep Guardiola, obviously the manager of Manchester City. But these two teams haven't really fared well in this season's UEFA Champions League. After the new format was introduced, it actually kicked off this season. So in the group of 36 teams, Manchester City heading into that game found themselves 24th, and that is the last place for qualification into the playoff round. And then Paris Saint-Germain were 2 places below in the 26th position. And then after 90 minutes, it was a tactical masterclass from Luis Enrique, outclassing and outwitting Pep Guardiola to head aside a 4-2 win. Actually, they went down 2 goals in that game right after halftime. So Jack Grealish scoring his very first goal from open play in over a year, and then also Erling Haaland, firing City 2 up. But then the introduction of Ousmane Dembele changed virtually everything for Luis Enrique and PSG, and they managed to rally their way from 4-2 down. Goncalo Ramos also getting, a goal in that game. But we look at Pep Guardiola and his chances. This is Pep Guardiola, who is a 3-time winner of the UEFA Champions League. So he's won it twice with Barcelona and then once with Manchester City. And just last season, they even finished in the semi-finals before being, booted out by Real Madrid. So they are perennial achievers in the same competition. And heading into the season, everyone was thinking that perhaps aside Madrid, the next favorite to lead the competition will be Manchester City. But we've seen Pep Guardiola go through, a series of issues. One has to do with the fact that their form in the league, the Premier League, is declining, and then also marital issues where he had to, settle his divorce issues. So he actually had to divorce his wife, if I should put it, due to the fact that he signed a 2-year contract extension with Manchester City, which wasn't the agreement he had with his wife. So Pep Guardiola has been going through quite a lot, but now we are looking at his chances of qualifying for the playoff round. In their last game, they play against Club Brugge of Belgium, and that would mean that they would have to win, because anything other than a win for Manchester City will mean that they do not qualify for the knockout stages or even the playoff round of the UEFA Champions League. But then you look at the team he fielded, quite some old-legged or old-aged players, if I should put it, tied legs in there. The likes of Kovacic, 30 years. There was Bernardo Silva, 30 years. There was Kevin De Bruyne, who's 33. So it has been the bane for Manchester City. But the question we are asking on POV, because personally, I think they do not have what it takes to even make it to the playoff round. And I wouldn't be surprised that Club Brugge can come to Etihad and upset them, because this is the same City side that took a 3-0 lead against Feyenoord, ended up drawing 3-3. And then we saw them also go 2-up at Brentford and then ended up drawing 2-2. So it's not quite surprising then also that against PSG, they took a 2-0 lead and then ended up losing by 4-2. So the question we are asking is that, do you think Pep Guardiola is in the right frame of mind to steer this Manchester City side into, the playoff round in the UEFA Champions League? Perhaps that's where their season begins. Or you think, based on what he's going through, all the issues, all the adversities and challenges, then you think Pep Guardiola can't even do that. So you can also drop your comment in the comment section. It is POV with me, Josiah. All right, so let's still remain in the UEFA Champions League. Now, there's one player who's actually having a phenomenal season. This player before the start of this season, nearly got sold by his club. And guess the player I'm talking about? It's Raphinha Diaz, who plays for Barcelona and also the Brazilian national team. So this is a player that signed for Barcelona from Leeds United after they got relegated in the Premier League. Now, after joining Barcelona, his performances were not that really top-notch. Yeah, comparatively, comparing his numbers to the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Antoine Griezmann, these were players who played for Barcelona and then also had to leave due to underperformance. So, he joined the club. It was his dream club. He was quite elated. He started the season. It didn't really go well. So, before the commencement of this season, the Barcelona board, actually, because the team also found itself in some financial mess, they just had to offload some players. So we saw them offloading players, and Raphinha nearly had his name, added to that list. But unfortunately, there were no suitors. There were no teams actually interested in Raphinha, and then he had to stay. And guess what? All of a sudden, everything turns around for Raphinha. He's playing so well. He's scoring with so much ease in the UEFA Champions League, in the Laliga. So even in the Laliga, he's already hit double figures for goals. In 20 games, he scored 11 times and assisted 7. And then also in the UEFA Champions League, he's played only 7 times. He scored 8 and assisted 2. So this is a player that nearly got sold by Barcelona just to balance their books. We've had Barcelona, their recent financial issues, selling VIP tickets, selling the naming rights of Camp Nou. It's been activating levers, even renting out Camp Nou to fans to use for recreational activities. It's been quite a lot. It's been a bit shameful and disgraceful for them. But Raphinha has really turned the corner as a player. After not being sold as a player, he just returns to the team for one season, and already he's their most important player. Yes, they brought in Dani Olmo. He's been playing very well until, that issue, the injury and the registration issue. He came back. Robert Lewandowski also started the season brightly, and then at some point, the goals dried up. Lamine Yamal, on the other hand, contender to win the next Ballon d'Or. He's been great, and I believe that Barcelona will be looking at this player and feel that it was just a blessing in disguise. They couldn't offload him. But do you think he's been the best player in the UEFA Champions League so far? And do you think he's been La Liga's best player so far this season? All right, so the UEFA Champions League has got into the match at week 7 stage. So those games have been cleared, and they're waiting the final round of games. But just 2 teams so far have been able to qualify, or still qualification to the knockout stages. So automatically the top 8 teams that finish in the top 8 would automatically qualify into the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. Then the 9th to 24th team also end up playing in the playoff round. Now, the 2 teams that have qualified for the knockout stages happens to be Liverpool, the only team with a 100% record, and then also Barcelona after their win over Benfica away from home. But we'll be talking about Liverpool and their exploit this season under Arne Slot. So he became just the second manager since Hansi Flick of Barcelona to win his first 7 UEFA Champions League games in charge of a club. So Hansi Flick was the last manager to do it. That was between the 2019 and 2020 season, where he won his first 7 games with Barcelona. And it's not just about breaking or equaling such huge feat for Liverpool, but it's about how good they've been so far in the UEFA Champions League. So no other team can boast of a 100% record this season in the UEFA Champions League. There's only one team, and that team has to be Liverpool. They've won 7 out of 7 so far, and they even qualified with a game to spare. It tells you how great they've been under Arne Slot. And there's the same team also leading the charge in the Premier League, and they are first. They've opened up a huge 7-point gap between themselves and second place Arsenal, and then they also have a game in hand. So whatever Arne Slot did at Feyenoord, we are all thinking that he's really mastered his game just a few months after joining Liverpool, succeeding Jurgen Klopp. And it looks likely that he's challenging for all trophies so far: the UEFA Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, and then also the Carabao Cup, which means that he could become the first manager ever in the history of English football to win the quadruple. We've seen 2 managers, win the treble before. Sir Alex Ferguson did it in the 1999 season, and then also we saw Pep Guardiola, repeat or achieve that feat a couple of seasons ago. So can Arne Slot go a step further and a step better by winning all 4 trophies. So they're still in contention to win the Carabao Cup. They're still playing in the FA Cup. They're still in the UEFA Champions League. And then also they are currently the favorites to win the Premier League. So you can also have your say. You think Arne Slot has what it takes to become the first ever manager in the history of English football to win 4 trophies. Yeah, 4 trophies. Have your say in the comment section. Thanks. Bye.